What is going on, beautiful people? We are back Friday, August 14th. Bad Decisions, episode 27. And we have a loaded stream for you guys. A huge UFC 330 card goes down tomorrow night. And my job is to get you guys ready with everything you could possibly need to put more money in your pocket, cash some tickets, um, and make tomorrow's card a good one for you guys. So, um, yeah, man, thank you guys for watching. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter. Hit that like button. Share the streams wherever you're at. Really helps me out. Um, and yeah, man, we've been relatively hot, man. We've had three straight profitable UFC cards, so that's always nice. We're up over 10 units in that span, so all of that stuff is good. Uh, Finally, was able to kind of catch some momentum back and put a little streak together, which is always nice. So we're looking to kind of build on that and keep it going, man. Keep it going. Also, if you haven't heard, I opened Club Finesse about a week ago. That's our new betting community where you can get all of my action, all of my betting content. We've been open for about a week, and it's been going amazingly, man. We have been highly profitable already. And yeah, man, we're building from the ground up, brick by brick. So for those of you that joined and are watching this, I appreciate you guys. Much love. And for those of you maybe not happy with who you guys are paying or not profiting or whatever the case is, I highly recommend you at least check it out. DM me any questions you may have. And it's about time for you guys to make the proper investment in betting, which I think this is. So yeah, man, it's been amazing. Brand new era for me, and I told you guys we're gonna try to be consistent or as consistent as I can with this content. So yeah, man, back again, huge card. Like I said, we're hot right now, so it's a good time to be tuned in and be tailing and things like that. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Big card, double championship fights. At the top of this card, so I'm very excited, man. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. And yeah, man, I have about an hour or so before I got to do some stuff with my son. So we're gonna get right to business, man. We're gonna get right down to business. Of course, this is not set up properly. Y'all know how it is, man. It's not a stream until I gotta fix some shit. Where is it? No, that's not it. Here it is. All right. So we're going to get this started, man. Hit that like button. And yeah, let's get it going, man. Kicking off the UFC 330 card live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is Jeremiah Wells versus Mikdebek Orobai. Huge favorite. Mikdebek is around minus 1100. The comeback on Jeremiah Wells is around plus 750. So yeah, I mean, not any hot takes from me or anything like that. My question in this fight is not who's gonna win. It's how, when. That was my biggest struggle with this fight. How does Mikdebek win? When does it happen? I've been back and forth on those questions throughout the week. I had a heavy lean towards the under at like minus 170, but I don't know, man. Like I said, I think Mikdebek can win this fight however he chooses to. I think he can win via knockout, via sub. I think he can win a dominant decision. So that's kind of where it gets a little bit funky for me. I still like the under 2.5. I think obviously that covers what I expect to be the outcome, which is a Mikdebek finish. But it also kind of encapsulates what I think is Jeremiah Wells' money line, which is I think it's going to be extremely tough for Jeremiah to win a decision in this fight. So I think the way he wins this fight is catching Mikdebek early. Mikdebek's striking defense is not good at all, especially in the pocket. He just kind of freezes, man. His footwork in the pocket is not good. He just kind of freezes and is there to be hit. And, you take one look at Jeremiah Wells and you see what he does best. Big, strong, just freak athlete of a guy. Physical specimen, and he obviously hits fucking hard. So, BJJ black belt, I don't think that's going to do him much good in a spot like this. I think very slim chance in my opinion, but I think the way he wins this fight is by, bonking Orobai within the first 7.5 minutes. So If you like under 2.5, you kind of get best of both worlds. But I kind of tease that I have a max bet on this card. I had a max bet, I think like 2 cards ago or something like that. And we got another one. So max bets are not that common for me. So to have 2 in 3 weeks is a little bit rare for me, but it is what it is, man. So the first is 2-leg parlay. My max bet. The first leg is Mictebek Orobai -3.5. So you can bet this on Bet Online. You can bet this on DraftKings, most notably. I believe Bet365 has it too. Don't quote me on that because I don't use Bet365. But yeah, man. I mean, everybody should have DraftKings. I don't know if I could smoke on YouTube, but we're about to find that out right now. So yeah, first leg of the max bet parlay -3.5. I think personally, that's one of the better ways to encapsulate Orobai's winning equity, right? If he wins a dominant decision, you don't get fucked. Only hoping for a finish. Obviously, a sub or KO cashes that bet as well. So yeah, that's the first half. I think the -3.5 is like -450 or something like that. We are gonna take some stabs though. At some later props. I do think if Mictebek finishes Jeremiah Wells, I do not think it's in the first round. I think Mictebek will have, Mictebek is definitely not a point fighter, right? He's not a shy guy. He's looking to be on the front foot, get right in your face as soon as the opening bell rings. That's the type of fighter he is. So it can get a little bit, sketchy. I feel like having a sweat the first 5 minutes of the fight, but I do think this fight goes at least a little bit longer, at least into the second round. So that's where I want to take my stabs. So let's see what we got here. I want to give you guys the most updated shit. So Jeremiah Wells, Mictebek Orobai. I also mentioned I'm having trouble with a method, right? Is it KO? Is it sub? I think both are possible, man. Jeremiah Wells is not a good striker at all. Not a good striker at all. Just jumps into range when he's looking to throw. Jumps in, jumps out. Everything is all explosive, looping shots. So I think the straight shots of Mictebek can do some serious damage, man. I think Jeremiah, we've seen Jeremiah put down by, well, not put down, knocked down, very, very hurt by, lead attacks, whether that's lead elbows or jabs and things like that, because he's leaping into range so recklessly. So I think Orobai can hurt him with a jab, hurt him with a 1-2 down a pipe. So I think that's possible, but I do lean more into Mictebek finding a sub. The books are favoring his KO, which I think is very telling, because I think the public, along with myself, is more heavily favoring a submission. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting that the books are favoring a KO. I think it's, like I said, I think it's very likely with how Jeremiah fights, but I still think there's such a wide gap in the wrestling and grappling. I know Jeremiah is a black belt, but I still think Mictebek is a better grappler, much better wrestler. Jeremiah's 39, about to be 40. You know what I'm saying? So Jeremiah doesn't seem like he's lost any athleticism, and usually guys that are built this way and fight, and guys that fight like Jeremiah does, usually cardio's an issue. But now with Jeremiah, man, I've been very, very impressed with his 15-minute cardio, even in higher paced fights. So I think that's important enough to be mentioned. But now you're fighting a guy who is relentless as fuck. Will shoot 15, 20, 25 takedowns if necessary. And I think that's more the onslaught that we do get. I think even if Mictebek hurts him on the feet, I think a club and sub is very, very likely. We've seen Jeremiah subbed in the UFC before. We've seen him put in some other tough spots that he's worked his way out of. But yeah, Mictebek is just so diverse in his attacks in the wrestling and grappling, and very good back taker. And I think that's how this fight plays out. So Mictebek round 2 submission is plus 900, and Mictebek round 3 submission is plus 1600. So, if you prefer the sub, those 2-3 sub numbers are pretty close. It's 800 and 1500. So it's just about picking. I don't think the round lines, the pure round lines for Mictebek have a lot of value. You know, last time I looked, Mictebek round 2 was like plus 375. Mictebek round 3 was like plus 650. Those are pretty shit numbers. You know, I know he's a huge favorite and this and that, but those are pretty shit numbers in my opinion. So those are the plays for this fight. First half of the max bet is Mictebek Orabai minus 3.5. And then we will sprinkle Mictebek round 2 sub and Mictebek round 3 sub. We got a couple of my guys in the chat. My man Capper Taylor's in the chat. Was good, Finesse. One of the guys I watch regularly is always vaping, so I'm sure you're good. Yeah, we're going to find out. we going to find out. Appreciate you watching, as always, my guy. We also have my man Archie in the chat. Yo, Finesse, hope you and the fam are all good. Much love to you, my brother. I appreciate you for watching. Everybody is straight. My son is about to be 1. It's incredible, man, how time flies. So a couple of weeks, he's going to be 1 already. It's just insane how time works, man, and how quickly this shit passes by. But appreciate you for asking. Much, much love. Hope the same for you as well. All right, let's move on. Next fight, Neil Magny versus Ramiz Brahimaj. We have seen some movement in this line, so make sure I get you out of the right line. So Brahimaj right now anywhere from minus 140 to minus 150. The comeback on Neil Magny is plus 125 to plus 130. So there's another fight where I flipped on. I originally, pre-tape and kind of halfway through tape, I was like, this is a Magny spot. I was like, I know Magny old and all of that shit, but if you had to kind of build the perfect, like if you had a mugshot of the perfect like Neil Magny-verse, fucking victim, I think it'd be Ramiz. A guy that is not very reliable, not the best decision maker. Hasn't faced a super high level of competition, can be gassy at times, and like I said, most importantly, can make mistakes. So, although I do think it's a relatively good matchup for Neil, I think a lot of those sentiments would have been more relevant if this was Ramiz of like 3-4 years ago. I think Ramiz has gotten a lot better. I think his cardio has gotten better. I think his boxing has gotten a lot better. So now I think it's a tougher matchup. And I do think that Neil can find some success. I think Neil can do some of those Magniverse things, push him up against the fence. Excuse me. Knee his thigh, right? Fucking punch him in the fucking thigh and, up against the cage and just spend minutes doing that. I think Ramiz can make some mistakes in the grappling and give Neil some top position. I think all of those things are possible. But surface level, I think there's some really telling things. First of all, it seems like the public is heavily on Neil. 40-year-old Neil Magny. If there's a spot you do want to back Neil, it is as a dog. So I'll give them that. But it seems like everybody, for the most part, everybody and their mother's on Neil as a dog. For some of the same reasons that I've listed. Not only is he more experienced, he's much bigger, much longer, facing much better level of competition. He's losing to only the best. So I give that argument credence, but everybody and their mother on Neil. I think 70+% of Tapology voters are on Neil. Yet the line has been slowly creeping the other way, man. Ramiz, I want to say Ramiz was a dog. I'm not going to double check that right now, but I think Ramiz was like plus 105, at some books, or plus 100 or something like that. And now we've just kind of seen slow and steady movement towards Ramiz, that now he's at the price that I just listed to you guys, minus 145. So that's pretty steadily and that's a pretty steady and pretty noteworthy line movement, especially when it seems like everybody's on the other side. So I like that for Ramiz. And as much as I say that Neil is, or Ramiz is a decent, Magniverse culprit, if you will, whatever the fuck word you want to use, I think the same is true on the other side. What does Ramiz do best? He takes the back really well, and he has devastating front chokes. And we've seen Neil. How many times has Neil been subbed? Like 7? Yeah, 7 times Neil has been subbed. A lot of those are via front choke, like we saw in his last fight against Amasov. Um, and his durability and willingness to fight through these positions has very much diminished as the years have gone by. So, um, yeah, man, I think Ramirez has a lot of ways to win. I think he can hurt Neil on the feet. I think anybody could hurt Neil on the feet. I think that can lead to him knocking Neil out. I think that can lead to a clubbing sub. I think that can lead to swinging rounds, big moments to swing rounds and on his way to a decision. But I don't know, man. That's the one thing I'm not super steadfast on is how Ramirez does it, like in what method. Ramirez by sub is only plus 175, so the books are basically telling you if he wins, it is by sub. Ramirez by decision is plus 650. Ramirez by KO is plus 900. Like those are things that I want to lean into more rather than his sub is plus 155 on FanDuel. Where he's minus 140 on the money line. So yes, I think that's the most likely outcome for sure, but that's not how we bet. We bet value, we bet numbers. I just don't know how much value is left on that sub price. So Ramirez by KO interests me a lot. Although I do think a lot of round one can be spent in the clinch up against the cage and this and that, so that could fuck you in terms of a early early KO numbers and shit. Let's check what they are. So Ramirez round 1 KO is 19-1, and Ramirez round 2 KO is 27-1. I will be playing those. I think those numbers have a lot of fucking value, and like I said, definitely ways to make it happen. Neil's chin is not what it was. His reaction to shots over the last couple of years now have been extremely, extremely bad. And like I said, that's one area where I think Ramirez has gotten a lot better. It's his boxing. He's going to be the more powerful striker in my opinion. So less likely of an outcome, but that's also, dictated by the price. That's why the prices are what they are. So 2 fights, 2 bets. We're on Ramirez Brahimaj's money line, minus 135. I'm okay with minus 140, minus 145, whatever you get. I'm okay with that price. And then we'll play Ramirez KO 1, 19-1, and Ramirez KO 2 at whatever the fuck I said it was. I think a ground and pound is likely too, man. Ramirez finds his way on top. Landing vicious strikes, maybe threatens a sub or two. Neil kind of turtles up and is looking to not get subbed. Then Ramirez just kind of hammer fists his fucking head against the canvas, and the ref pulls him off. I could see that too as a path to cash our KO ticket. So next up, Rafael Tobias, I believe that's how you pronounce it, versus Lucas Fernando. Lucas Fernando making his UFC debut, big favorite, minus 300. Comeback on Rafael Tobias is plus 235. Excuse me. I know that must suck listening, me coughing all the time, but I don't know what you want me to do. I need a fucking lozenge or something. So, yeah, man, I'm not interested in money lines or anything like that. I would never lay this price with Lucas Fernando. I think he's the much better striker. I think he's much better boxer, more technical on the feet, probably more power on the feet. But I can't lay this type of price, man. You're making a UFC debut. His grappling and wrestling is completely fucking suspect. We saw the holes in his wrestling grappling in some of the more notable spots, like against Bakoyev. People like to talk about this Bakoyev fight because Bakoyev obviously made it to the UFC. He's picked up UFC wins. And then people like to talk about the Dana White Contender Series fight, obviously because it's in the UFC octagon, because it's against a guy who also made it to the UFC, also picked up UFC wins. So although these aren't the worst losses in the world, it's how he lost that was very concerning. When Cesar Almeida, who is a credentialed kickboxer, is taking you down pretty consistently. Like, what was the stats? or controlling you pretty consistently. They didn't credit Caesar with any takedowns. That's pretty interesting. I watched that fight earlier in the week, but I'm pretty fucking sure Caesar got at least one takedown. Like, what the fuck? I know ESPN is wrong a lot. I don't know. That's interesting. But yeah, man, with Caesar's having wrestling success and controlling you for over a full fucking round, that's a problem. Bukoyev, I give more credence to. He's an extremely powerful wrestler. Not an easy test, man. That's a very tough test. 5-round fight. Survived some tough spots in that fight. But yeah, man, it's not like Tobias is a great wrestler grappler in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think the glaring holes in Fernando's game is gonna be exposed here. But still, man, I can't lay prices like this in a UFC debut when you have glaring weaknesses in your game. Even in a matchup where I think is favorable to you. So not a fight I'm looking to lay any type of juice with or anything like that. But I'm not too against investing in Fernando. Somehow. Like I said, much better striker, uh, much longer striker, much more technical in the boxing. We've seen Tobias. I don't think he has really any process on the feet. He's not stringing combos together. We saw him get absolutely diced up by DR, which is not a great look. I know DR is kind of good from distance and a good range kickboxer, but the way he was looking in that fight, just getting eaten alive on the feet, not a great look in my opinion. So is Tobias gonna, put the singlet on and wrestle and grapple consistently? I don't know. I don't really see it. Maybe he has some success in round one. Like what's his sub one? Yeah, Tobias sub one is 15-1. I don't mind playing that at all. Like what's his so Tobias round one, round two sub is plus 900. Round one sub by itself is 15-1. Round two by itself sub is 20-1. I don't mind those numbers, man. I think that's how. I think if he finishes, that's how it happens. I think Tobias can win the decision. I think this pass to do that, but yeah, man. I think if he finishes, which is probably his most likely path to winning this fight, I think it is early. I think it is via completely exposing Fernando on the mat. But yeah, so I'll probably play those for small sprinkles, just small hedges. What I like is the Fernando KO. Again, I might regret, investing, maybe a full unit or half a unit in a guy like this. Time will tell, obviously, but I think Tobias is a liability on the feet. And when you're at a striking disadvantage, a power disadvantage, and you're a complete liability defensively on the feet, that's not a good equation. You know what I'm saying? And you're, at a 6-inch reach disadvantage, that's not a recipe for success in my opinion. So Lucas is high volume enough, active enough on the feet for a plus 115 KO number to be enticing to me. So I don't want to pick around. I don't want to play 1-2 or 2-3 or anything like that. Just straight up Lucas Fernando by KO plus 115 is going to be the bet for this fight. But like I said, small hedges on Tobias, round one sub and round two sub at crazy numbers. So that does it for the early prelims. Moving on to the prelims. If you haven't liked the video already, please like the video. It helps me out a ton. I do these streams for you guys a day early. So if you guys aren't watching live, there's that playback value. You guys can kind of go back and watch the episode. So if you're watching live, hit that like button. If you're watching on rewatch, still hit that motherfucking like button. Comment your favorite fights, your best bets. If you guys have any big bets on this card, I'd love to hear them. And yeah, man, it helps me out a ton. I'm trying to do this every single week. So if you guys show love, we will continue to do this every single week. And, you guys aren't getting bullshit. You guys aren't getting, the pick is this, or I picked this guy, or I picked. You guys are getting my actual bets, my best bets, my max bets, everything that I bet. You guys are getting. You guys are getting everything. So we don't fuck around here. I'm giving you actionable information that you can use to make money, not just bullshit picks where, with no money behind them, and people could just fucking say anything. So I hope you guys appreciate that. I hope you guys enjoy these streams, and if you do, hit that like button. So moving on to the prelims. Excuse me. Luke Vicente. I said Luke Vicente, bro. Vicente Luque versus Trayshawn Gore. I don't have any interest in this fight. I flirted with both moneyline sides. I really did, but I flirted with under 2.5. But one of the biggest squares I know is on the under 2.5. So I'm good on that. I can definitely see this being, kind of a war. Back and forth, big moments, kind of war that everybody's pissed off that it went to decision. I can definitely see that, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, both these guys are completely unreliable. Vicente's durability, his chin, the whole brain bleed surgery situation, that's not too far in his rearview mirror. So just completely unreliable. We've seen him quit in the octagon more than one time. And on the Trayshawn Gore side, man, I don't want to overvalue, the best win in his career against Bakoev, who we talked about not too long ago. I don't want to overvalue that, man. He looked great, come from behind win. He almost got finished early in that fight, which is another reason I don't want to overreact. Almost gets finished early and kind of had to rely on what Bakoev does best, which is gas, to find the finish in that fight. And then, two standing gilly finishes, just remarkably meme-ish, but, it's one of his signatures. So, but yeah, man, Gore unreliable too. The KO power, obviously he has KO power, but I don't think he knows how to translate that. Like the ability to, like, how do I fucking say it? Like having power is one thing. The ability to use that power in a fight and have that power translate to KOs is something different, and that's not something that Gore's been able to do. So, yeah, man, both guys are liable to make huge mistakes, liable to make mistakes that end the fight. Fight ends by sub is relatively interesting, but let's look at what that was. Because, I mean, if it's 2XX, if it's plus 2XX, then okay. Yeah, it's not even that anymore. Like, fight ends by sub plus 170 on FanDuel. So, yeah, it might hit, but I'm not interested in those lines. So, pass fight for me. Next fight, Dante Johnson versus Eric McConico. I didn't even list the odds for this fight. I will, in case anybody gives a shit. Trayshawn Gore minus 115. The comeback on Vicente is plus 105. I mean, there's some minus money Vicente markets out there, so pretty even fight. Back to this fight, Dante Johnson versus Eric McConico. Dante Johnson, big favorite, minus 300. The comeback on Eric McConico is plus 260. So I've seen some interesting takes on this fight. I've talked to some smart people, some of the smartest UFC people that I know, MMA people that I know, and I've gotten some differentiating thoughts, man. I've gotten some opinions on both sides, some opinions on both sides of the money line and on both sides of the total on this fight. So very interesting. I can see people. I can understand why people are taking the shot on Eric. Eric has shown to be kind of, I don't want to say crafty, because I don't think that's the right word. Like weaselly, I guess, squirrely, I guess, is a more relevant term. He's just shown the ability to kind of, even if he's losing, kind of stay in fight, circle on the outside, try to point fight and extend fights that way. But and Dante hasn't looked amazing. Darian Abbey isn't UFC level at all. So yes, he knocked him out, but you did what you probably should do. Cedric Dumas, LOL, and then Cody Brundage split decision. Probably his worst look because he didn't do enough. He didn't do nearly enough in that fight. He got hit a lot in that fight. And you drag Cody Brunson to a split decision. Like, it's just not a good look at all, in my opinion. But, the guy's still severely green. Only 8 professional fights. Only 27 years old, so not even in his prime. These kind of things can be expected, man. Like, casual, dumb fuck, pimple face MMA fans will watch one fight and then, oh, this guy's a fraud. Fuck him. Easy fade. He got fraud checked. All that shit is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're professional bettors. Styles make fights. And like I said, guy, only 27, only 8 pro fights. These things happen. Weird performances, fluke performances happen when you're dealing with a guy so green like this. So, I think this is an amazing matchup for Deontay Johnson. I think Eric is extremely hittable. His chin is very, very suspect, very unreliable. He's 36 years old. I don't think this. Dante is a weird case because he's had some weird performances inside the UFC, but he also seems kind of like a weird guy outside the UFC. Like he seems very emotional, very cocky, but he talks about religion a lot and Jesus and all of this shit, but seems very cocky and kind of arrogant as well. So after his last performance versus Cody, he hops on a mic and he's kind of emotional, talking about how it's not the fight that he wanted. He's a much better fighter than this, and blah blah blah, which is what we hear a lot of guys say when they turn in shit performances. But how can you not learn from a performance like that? A split decision versus Cody Brundage, who is very chinny, who has quit multiple times in the octagon. Like, that should be a guy with as much hype as you have, or as you came into the UFC with. Sorry, I want to see what weight this fight was. Middleweight, okay, yeah, all right. So, yes, for as bad as that fight and performance was, like, you have to have learned from that fight, and he has to be itching to kill somebody, to get a finish, to get back to his finishing ways in the UFC. That's the type of style he is. Very, very explosive. Smaller guy for the division, but very, very explosive. Power in both hands. And I think that's the story of this fight. I think it's that simple. Eric is way too hittable, way too chinny, and Dante is way too explosive, way too athletic, and way too much power in his hands. So, is it going to happen in the first 5 minutes? I don't know. I think it can happen in any other 3 rounds, if I'm being honest. The books are actually favoring this fight to go over 1.5, probably because of kind of that squirrely style that I was talking about with Eric, the fact that Dante just kind of shit his pants. But I can definitely see this fight ending early for sure. Dante Johnson by KO, excuse me, you can still get some plus money. You get plus 105. Some plus 100s in the market. That's kind of what I'm interested in. I've gotten burned over the last couple weeks trying to pick rounds and all that shit, and trying to be greedy with some of these bigger prices by, picking rounds and methods and things like that. I'm going to try to not do that going forward and try to, win more bets and not be a greedy fuck. So like I said, a couple fights ago, this Lucas Fernando fight, just playing the KO plus 115. I think this is a spot where I'm going to do the same thing. I haven't made it official yet, but I really don't want to try to pick a round. Like, I don't know. Let's see what the fucking rounds are, man. All right, so Dante Johnson. Round 1 KO plus 310, round 2 KO plus 500, round 3 KO plus 800. So it's not even like round 1 KO plus 310. Like, I think it could happen, but like I said, books are favoring the over, and it's not like a crazy enough price where I feel the need to play it, if that makes sense. So yeah, man, I don't know. Like, in some of these spots, so I like playing the KO round combos. But they're shit, man. Dante Johnson round one KO or round one, round two KO is plus 150. Round two, round three KO is plus 270. In some cases, I like playing both of those. So if it happens in round two, you cash both tickets. Not too much value left though, in my opinion. So, um, yeah, weird fight, man. The odds are kind of all over the place. Books are favoring the over, but they're also saying that if Dante gets the KO, it is in one or two. That's basically what they're telling you. Um, so weird, man. But that's the read. I don't have any official bets in this fight. Join Club Finesse. You'll get all my official plays and all of that good stuff. But it's Dante Johnson by KO. Don't necessarily know if it'll be KO straight, if it'll be some round props or something like that. Hopefully it's not a Dumas situation where he's beating the fuck out of Dumas and then wraps up a choke. But yeah, Dante Johnson by KO. Next fight, Charles Johnson versus Eduardo Chapolin. I like this Chapolin kid, man. I really do. Let's get you current odds first. So Charles Johnson minus 120. The comeback on Chapolin plus 100. DraftKings he's minus 102. So yeah, man. So interesting fight. Obviously, this is short notice. Charles Johnson was supposed to fight. Who's the other fucking young savage? Don't tell me. I'm picturing his fucking face. Ochoa. He was supposed to fight Ochoa. And Ochoa was gonna absolutely fucking murder him. And now he's fighting another. I wouldn't say young. He's 30, but bright prospect in this division. It's interesting too because Pickett lists 70% of the bets, 62% of the money on Charles Johnson. Let's check Tapology real quick because I'm interested. 77% of Tapology is on Charles Johnson as well. That's pretty wild. Yeah, man, that's I don't know. I don't see it, and that kind of worries me. I mean, I disagree with the market. I disagree with the odds, and again, that worries me a little bit. I know Chapolin. There are some dickheads. Tracking. I think Chapolin opened like plus 300 or plus 250 on some books, and obviously those aren't real lines that anybody can get any money down. So. But even when this line settled, like I'm kind of intrigued as to why Chapolin is still the dog. I don't know. Maybe it's the short notice. Maybe just the books are just smarter than me with this fight, and that's what worries me the most. Backing Charles Johnson at juice at this stage of his career is just not in the stars for me. You know what I'm saying? Charles Johnson has clearly regressed. His durability is clearly regressed. Was it his last two fights? So not back to back, but I mean getting KO'd by Alex Perez. I mean, if that doesn't show you where he's at in his career and where his durability is at, and then against getting subbed by Asu after getting kind of beat up in that fight. Yeah, man, he's 35 years old. There's a lot of miles at this point on those tires. This would be a 29th professional fight. A lot of fights in the UFC. Doesn't take a lot of time between fights. And yeah, we're starting to see that, man. He's slowing down a bit. Cardio is not as rock solid as it once was. Durability, like I mentioned, not as rock solid as it once was. And all of those things, and at money, at minus money, when, historically he's perfectly fine with giving up the first round. So, you're being forced to lay minus 120 on a very much diminished version of Charles Johnson when he's probably going to drop round one against a guy who's very aggressive, very high volume. I don't want to say very high volume, but he's very aggressive, puts a lot of pressure on guys, and that's not really what Charles likes. Charles likes to dictate what happens in the fight, likes to be on the front foot, throw a lot of volume out there. Um, so yeah, man, I think it's a tough matchup. Charles is gonna be taller and longer than a lot of guys he fights at this weight class, so it's no different here. But Chapelin is devastating, man. Like that pressure and front footedness. I don't know if that's a word. Mixed in with the power, I think is gonna be tough for Charles Johnson to deal with in this fight. So I don't know. Something weirds me out about this fight. It screams. This fight screams like I have a read, and I like the read, but the books are just smarter than me in a spot like this, and that's okay to admit. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I don't have a amazing read on every single fight that has ever existed, like some people like to act like they do. I feel like I have a decent read on this fight, but the books, the public, the market don't agree with me. So sometimes I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with being on the island. But this one feels weird, man. I don't know how to articulate it correctly, but I don't know. It just feels weird. The pick is Chapelin. I think Chapelin can win a decision. I think he can finish Charles Johnson, probably in 2-3. But yeah, I haven't made anything official yet. Closing out the prelims, Chidi and Jokowani versus Joel Alvarez. Current odds. Joel Alvarez minus 300. The comeback on Chidi. Chidi, bang, bang. It's plus 260. Very interesting fight. I do think the line is a bit wide, especially because you can't rely on Joel to consistently wrestle. That's Chidi's probably biggest weakness, is the wrestling and grappling and his willingness to stay on his back and, just melt minutes on his back. Can Joel wrestle? Absolutely. I think he can wrestle. I think he's a fairly good wrestler. Obviously a good grappler. Has a submission game in his bag. It's just very unreliable in terms of using his gifts, especially in matchups where he probably should, like this one. If it's a 15-minute kickboxing fight, obviously that's the much harder path for Joel. Chidi's very long, very versatile. Sniper on the feet, absolute sniper on the feet. So Joel has to close range. He has to make it gritty, via striking or via wrestling. Like I said, has it been the most reliable thing? No, but does Joel still have some of that equity? Yes. I think he can wrestle Chidi. I think he can get him down. I think he can threaten Chidi on the mat, do some damage on the mat. So, like, I'm not interested in laying this type of price. Minus 300 on Joel. I'm just not interested. I don't think he's the cleaner technical striker. I think he has more power. I don't think he's a cleaner technical striker. And like I said, he doesn't use what I think would be very useful as much as he should. So I can't lay this type of price. But, after tape and the more I kind of think about this fight and have it play out in my head, the more I like Joel to kind of break him down and finish this fight late. Joel round 2 is plus 430. Joel round 3 is plus 1,000. That's kind of where I'm leaning. I don't know if I wanted to choose KO or sub because I feel like either way I'll get fucked. Joel decides that he wants to wrestle grapple. I think he can, like I said, have success. Could be a club and sub type of situation. I don't want to take sub, which the books are actually heavily favoring a sub. Joel by sub is plus 180. Joel by KO is plus 310. So they're highly favoring a sub, which I don't know if I agree with. I don't know if I agree with that, but is what it is. Another reason why I'm not laying the prices, where is this fight going to take place? Is it going to take place in kickboxing range? I don't think that's super ideal for Joel. Is it going to take place in close? again, Chitty's very, very dangerous and close. I think both guys are extremely dangerous and close, but it's not like Joel has a crazy advantage there by any means. You know what I'm saying? Chitty's also extremely dangerous and close, man. It's one of his best areas is in the clinch, in close, using that Muay Thai to fuck people up in close. So not a lot of glaring, you know, advantages for Joel in this matchup. With all that said, I'm not in love with playing Cheaty even at this big plus money price. I'm not super interested in that. I think he can wilt. Like I said, we've seen him quit in the octagon, and Joel is, you know, I know he gets the rap of only being able to finish early and being a front runner and this and that, but I think that's a very casual, lazy take, man. Like he has multiple finishes in 2-3. He's gone to decision and looked pretty good while doing so. So I don't think it's a done in one or nothing type of situation for Joel. I think Joel is the more reliable fighter when it comes to being in rounds 2 and being in rounds 3. I trust his durability more. I know he just got finished, but I trust his durability more. I trust his decision making more the later the fight goes. I know he can be kind of a meathead early in fights and be kind of explosive, but and yeah, I just trust his overall. I don't want to just pigeonhole it into cardio. Like um, I trust his ability to kind of stay solid, if that makes any sense. The later this fight goes, I trust him to not completely fucking crumble. I think Joel has more finishing equity. I think Chitty's more liable to crumble the later this fight goes. So that's kind of how I see it. No interest in the money line price, no interest in parlaying them. I'm looking for later finish props. If Joel wins by decision, I'll just jump off the fucking roof and just be angry, I guess, because I do think it is possible for sure. I think this can be a close decision. I think Joel can win a 29-28. I think he can win a 30-27. I think he can win a split. That's a lot of different outcomes, you know what I'm saying? And that doesn't make me comfortable, obviously. But what I might do is I might play round 2, round 3, like I said, plus 450, plus 1,000. And then those are just sprinkles, obviously, maybe quarter unit each. And then, excuse me. And then I personally favor, I don't know if I favor KO. I don't know. Let's see what the prices are looking like. So Joel round 2 KO is 11-1. Round 3 KO is 17-1. I don't know, man, because like I said, he's completely untrustworthy to wrestle grapple, but I think he can do it, man. I think if there's any brain cells fucking rolling around in there or by his coaches or team or anything like that got to be at least part of the game plan. Like maybe you choose to stand with him early because he's an idiot and go like that. But as his fight progresses in 2 and 3, I can definitely see him shooting some takedowns, man. And I don't know. I haven't decided if I want to play 2 sub, 3 sub, or 2 KO, 3 KO. But I'll play round 2. I'll play round 3. Those are the official bets right now for the stream, and we move on. So, moving on to the main card: Edson Barboza versus Esteban Ribovic. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this fight, even though I have a lot riding on this fight. Esteban, big favorite, -700, -750. Comeback on Edson Barboza is plus. Shit, what was it? Plus 500 to plus 550. Real nice and simple. No hot takes here. Esteban's going to win this fight. I think he's going to win via KO. This is the other leg of my max bet. So it's Miktabek Orabai -3.5 and Esteban Ribovic -3.5. So both guys -3.5. The way you win the -3.5, you add up all the judges' scorecards. It needs to be Esteban needs to win by 4 or more points. Normally that's 30-27s. It can be 29-28, 29-28, 30-27. That gets the job done. all the different type of ways decision you can cash the -3.5. But more importantly, you cash the -3.5 by finishing your opponent. I think that's what happens here. I think it's by devastating KO. And I think Edson retires after this. You know, Edson is a legend of the sport, man. He has some of the most, from watching the sport growing up, some of the most memorable fights, finishes that I think about off the top of my head when I think of Edson Barboza. You know, at one point in his career was the absolute fucking boogeyman. You know, one of the most durable guys in the division, one of the nastiest, you know, leg calf attacks in the division. Just a legend, man. He's given us so many good moments, so many good fights. You know, Edson Barboza fights are not fights you want to go take a piss or you want to go get some popcorn. These are fights you want to be glued to your seats in, and he has thoroughly entertained us for 10 plus, 15 plus years. So big shout out to Edson Barboza. Thank you to Edson Barboza. Phenomenal career. Should be proud of what he's done. But yeah, man, every dog has his day. He's 40 years old. Durability is clearly not there anymore. The athleticism is clearly not there anymore. He is so fucking stiff in there now, so unathletic and slow, especially defensively, man. He's just not reacting really at all to shots coming his way. He's just kind of chin up, stiff, just standing there, you know, and that's just, and he's paid for it. He's paid for it in recent years, and he's going to pay for it again. Esteban Rivovic by devastating KO inside of 10 minutes, and that's just what it is. So, yeah, max bet territory, so that's exciting. Both guys just need to get us finishes or win dominant decisions. I think both guys finish, most likely by KO, and I think just like the max bet we had a couple of weeks ago, it was Medic and I don't even fucking remember. It was Medic and another guy. Damn, I'm running out of fucking time, but still I'm wasting time doing this shit. That's just how my fucking brain works. Like, I'm not gonna be able to think now. It's gonna bother me. Oh, Michael Oliveira. How could I forget the legend Michael Oliveira? So that was my last max bet. Michael Oliveira and Medic. And I cashed, you know, both guys finished their fights in like 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So I think this one could look maybe a little bit tougher. Maybe the Orba fight goes a little bit longer. But yeah, I think either way, I think we look back on this max bet and we look back at it as, you know, free fucking cheese. So my monitor is like flickering. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm getting fucking hacked. All right, there we go. And now it's off again. Okay. Next fight, Mansour Abdul Malik versus Dustin Stolfus. I don't have any action in this fight. Mansour is a big favorite again. He got to show me, man. I think there's a good matchup for Mansour. I think he can finish Dustin. I think he can knock Dustin the fuck out. I think he can have some high amplitude takedowns. Maybe it looks so good. He's slamming them and shit like that and trying to ground and pound them. But I know a lot of people like to put Dustin in this kind of bum class and things like that. I don't agree with that. I think Dustin is a very serviceable fighter wherever the fight goes. Decent enough grappling, decent enough wrestling. Can definitely crack. You know, we've seen that. So yeah, I don't think he's a guy you can just scoff at and just throw away like he's a bum. He's being priced like a bum because of the hype and all of the, I want to say skills, like the physicality and the power and the athleticism of Mansour. So I get it, but that just kind of leads into my biggest problem with Mansour. Like, again, he's still very green, only 11 pro fights. He's only 20 years old, not even in his prime. But I just don't know how skilled this dude is, man. Like, is he a good wrestler? Yes. Is he extremely powerful, athletic freak? Yes, absolutely. But, you know, I don't think his striking is the cleanest at all. I don't think he has any type of process on the feet. Not very technical. Does not throw in combination. Decision making is obviously a big problem, especially coming off his last fight where that was his last fight, right? Where he did absolutely fucking nothing. No, that was okay, yeah. So last fight he got he got smoked in his fight. Like, it was hard to watch at some points. It was the Brundage fight. Does absolutely nothing for 2 rounds, then turns it on and salvages, a draw somehow. And then Tricoli, just not UFC level at all. So it is what it is. Subs him early, and it gets absolutely fucking tuned up by Belgarui, who I think is a real guy in this division. So not too much to be upset about there. But yeah, man, I think Mansour wins. I think it's probably by finish, probably in 2-3. But again, he's going to have to show me. He's going to have to show me before I invest again in him. So yeah, it's just what it is. The decision making is not there. He's talked this week about, yeah, I know what I did wrong, and I'm gonna be a lot more aggressive, and I gotta stop trying to be so perfect and fight so technical because that's not my style. I'm gonna go back to my style and blah 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 blah. We've seen fighters say that millions of fucking times. Maybe he actually does it, but I'm not at these type of prices. I'm not looking for maybes or anything like that. So Mansour's the pick, but I don't have any action as of right now. Next fight, I'm going to try to speed through these, man. I maybe like 20 more minutes, 15, 20 more minutes. Jalen Turner versus Kawi Fernandez. Interesting fight, man. I think the advantages that Jalen Turner has in this fight are obvious, right? It's not going to take me talking for 30 fucking minutes to explain to you the advantages that Jalen has. Jalen is much bigger, much longer, much better striker, much more versatile on the feet, much more power in his hands, extremely versatile, good at range, good in close, good Muay Thai, so many things, so many skills, good grappling, so many skills. Skills has never been a thing, has never been a problem for Jalen Turner. It's been the IQ. He seems like a head case. Anybody that retires in their prime, probably a head case, right? Probably a lot of things going on. He was religious. Now he's not. Then he's religious again. Now he's retired. Then he's unretired. The whole not Bobby Green, the whole fucking Renato Moicano situation. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I've learned the hard way throughout the last 12, 18 months that IQ and having your mind right is just as important than anything else when it comes to betting these fights. You know what I'm saying? You could, decision making and IQ, I'm learning, like I said, learn the hard way to respect the fuck out of those things. And Jalen just does not have those things. It sounds like he's all the way back. He came back and, finished the corpse of Edson Barboza, who we just talked about. This should be a win, but getting subbed by Bahamondes so early in that fight is just another example, man. Like, that should never be happening. Where your level of grappling, Bahamondes of all fucking people should not be submitting you 2 minutes into a fight. Like, it shouldn't be happening, So now he's a favorite again. I don't think I listed out the odds of this fight, but Jalen Turner. Looks like some money's coming in on Coway now. He's minus 118 on DraftKings. Jalen Turner is. The comeback on Coway is plus 105 to plus 110. So it's creeping towards back towards even money, which is interesting. Coway, just like Turner, I think it's obvious what he does best. Very good kicking game. Probably like one of the most devastating kickers in the lightweight division, especially calf kickers. He's ended fights via calf kicks, which is not easy to do. But that's about it, man. Like that's about it, which also weirds me out about this fight. Coway does not have good cardio, especially, or does not have good cardio, does not have good IQ, especially as the fight plays out. That kind of goes hand in hand with the cardio. As you tire, your IQ diminishes as well. Not very good boxing. Decent amount of power in his hands. It is what it is, but not good boxing at all. Mostly a kicker. That's really it. And if that's it, why is he even money with Jalen Turner? You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't. That screams funky to me. That screams funky to me. What I was going to say at the top of this breakdown is I want to just ride the wave. Every fucking square, all the fade pages that I know of, not all of them, but most of them that I know of are on Coway. for whatever reason that is. I think it's from some of the explanations that I've heard is just Jalen's a fucking idiot and Jalen makes so many mistakes and he has been pretty susceptible to calf kicks. But one thing Jalen Turner is very, very good at is countering as well. So he's obviously very long, very accurate, very fast on the feet, very good at countering kicks, very good at countering in general, but especially with kicks. So that's obviously good in this matchup. I can see Kawe throwing a naked leg kick, Jalen throwing a 1-2 down the middle, or just a right hand down a pipe, sitting Kawe down. Then we get to some grappling exchanges. I can definitely see that leading to like huge moments in the fight. But yeah, man, at this price, especially if it continues to get better, I like Jalen, man. Too many, so be it. If he acts like a fucking moron again and loses this fight based off, not checking kicks or getting kicked over and over again and not doing anything about it or just being a complete fucking idiot, then so be it, man. I chalk it up to I lose. I just lose. But way too many physical advantages, way too many skill advantages, strength of competition advantage. Like, yes, Kawe has looked phenomenal. The striking has looked on point, the distance management. Yo, this shit is pissing me off so fucking much, man. Like, my monitor just keeps flicking in, flicking out, and now it's back the fuck out. So fucking irritating. Bro. Alright, I guess I'll just pull it up here. So you guys could still see it, but I fucking can't. It's so fucking aggravating. So Kawe has looked phenomenal, right? He's looked phenomenal getting finishes, but look at against who? I know you guys can't see this, but Harry Hardwick, come on, LOL. Guram Kudalatse, not on the UFC anymore. Muhammad Yahya, one of the worst to ever do it. Mark DeCasey, LOL. Lost that fight too. So just bottom of the barrel level of competition. Jalen Turner has way too many advantages. Like I said, physically, athletically, skill-wise, way too many advantages. So I'll take the small stab on Jalen. Probably a half unit play at a very, very slight favorite price. So next fight, co-main event of the evening. First title fight, women's strawweight strap on the line. Jillian Robertson versus the new champ, Mackenzie Dern. Current odds, Mackenzie sitting minus 200 market wide. The comeback on Jillian is plus 170 to plus 180. So I have a fairly big bet on this fight. Again, I'm going to try to speed through these last two. So I laid 2 units on Mackenzie Dern money line and fight starts round 2 at minus 156. I also played for 0.2 units each. I played Dern to win in round 2 at plus 1,000, to win in round 3 plus 1,300, and to win in round 4 plus 1,600. I think those are the sweet spots. Good prices, 0.2 units each. Excuse me. And then the big bet in this fight is Mackenzie Dern money line and fight to start round 2. Pretty simple click for me, in my opinion. I respect Jillian a lot. I respect the improvements she's made in her game. She is a grappler. She's a grappler. Her wrestling was a lot more dog shit than it was now a couple years back. She's a little bit more aggressive on the feet. Her striking has improved. Her striking used to be a complete non-factor. Now, although it's still pretty shit, some semblance of a striking game. And wrestling has gotten slightly better. That's all we can ask for, to make improvements during UFC run, and I think that's what she's done. With that said, man, I think Mackenzie Dern is better everywhere. Better, maybe not pure wrestling. I mean, I think that would be a toss-up, to be honest, if I'm being honest with you. But better striker. We don't know Mackenzie Dern as a striker. She's not known for her striking. But in this matchup, better striker, more powerful striker, more finishing equity on the feet. I think especially the later this fight goes, I think she does damage on girls, man. It doesn't always look pretty. It doesn't always look clean and technical, but she can deal damage on the feet, man. And Jillian is there to be hit. Her footwork is absolute dog shit, so she's going to be there to be hit. She's white as a fucking piece of paper, too, so, Mackenzie starts to land on her face. I think she's going to bloody her up, red in her eyes, which is good for the judges. Just more equity on the feet. Um, much better grappler in my opinion. Like there's levels to the shit. So Jillian is a very good grappler. Don't get me wrong, very very good grappler. Not a better grappler than Mackenzie Dern. So how does Jillian win this fight? Me personally, I can come up with one scenario that Jillian wins this fight, and it's constant top control for 5 straight rounds, finding ways to get your takedowns consistently enough, and to consolidate position consistently enough to win at least 3 of these rounds via top control and damage. Via I'm gonna stay on top long enough to control you, to land elbows, land punches, do damage, to win rounds. That's the only way in my head that I can see Jillian winning this fight. How can I see Mackenzie Dern winning this fight? I think Mackenzie Dern, like I said, can hurt her on the feet. I think it's a low chance, but I think she can hurt her on the feet. I think she can, win a fight that's mostly stand up, as we see sometimes with when two fighters are wrestler grapplers. We see that kind of cancel out and then spend a lot of time on the feet. I think Mackenzie Dern wins that fight. I think Mackenzie Dern wins a scramble fest grappling type of fight. I think Mackenzie Dern has way more finishing upside in this fight. More decision equity because I think she's better in more places. So yeah, man, it's just that simple for me. I give respect to Jillian. I don't think a lot of people thought she would reach these kind of heights where she's fighting for a belt. But yeah, man, she's just running into a girl that I just think is better, man. Better overall fighter, more experience, both in 5-round fights, better strength of competition that she's fought. So that's a lot of advantages, man. So like I said, one of my bigger bets, not bigger than the main event, but one of my bigger bets on this card is that 2-leg Mackenzie Dern fight starts round 2. And then taking a stab at these finish props, man. 2, 3, 4 finish, plus 1,000, plus 13, plus 1,600. That's what I like, man. And still for Mackenzie Dern. Main event of the evening, man. Thank you guys for watching. Whether you're watching on YouTube, watching on Twitter, I appreciate you guys for watching. If you have not already, hit that like button. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button, man. We're doing this every single week. Free sauce. Everything we do, whether it's on Twitter or on YouTube, is designed to make you guys money. That's my main goal, is to make you guys money. So if you guys like money, if you guys like gambling, a lot of people that like gambling also like donating. You know what I'm saying? So our job here is to stop that shit. Stop the donating, to put money in your pocket. If you're watching this video, you probably love fights. So why not love fights and make money as you do that? So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Helps me out a ton. And let's talk about this main event. Islam Makhachev, one of the best fighters we've ever seen, graced the octagon, defending his welterweight belt versus Ian Machado Gary. Islam first title defense at welterweight, but double champ, absolute legend of the sport. Being priced like it too. He's minus 350 and minus 360. The comeback on Ian is plus 285 to plus 300. So this is my biggest bet of the card. I have 3.5 units on a little 3-leg parlay, just some juice reducing lays to get the juice down, obviously. But it's Makhachev money line, Makhachev 1+ takedown, and fight to start round 2. So pretty simple, man. Makhachev to get 1 takedown, the fight to start round 2, and Makhachev to win the fight. That's minus 175 on FanDuel, and I played that for 3.5 units. I haven't played any finish props or anything yet. I'm kind of stirring on it. What do we got in the chat? My man Archie, before you end the stream, can you do a quick roundup? So I've got everything. Absolutely, my brother. I'll do a quick recap. My man Larry Hooker in the chat. I played Turner plus Alvarez money line in a lay for 1 unit myself. I don't get the line on Turner also, which is spooky. Yeah, man, it worries me, but I think that hits. I think that hits for sure. So yeah, man, I'm this fight. Obviously it's a main event championship fight. There's gonna be a lot of opinions on both sides, but I'm seeing a lot of Gary love because of the number. Even people that even some people that like Makhachev think it's gonna be a close fight. I don't think so. I don't. I'm on the side of this fight not being that close. I think Islam is gonna dominate. Whether it's a dominant decision, whether it's dominance via grappling leading to a submission, I think Islam's gonna dominate. Further his claim to being pound for pound number 1. And these are the steps you got to take. You got to beat a very game and a very good Ian Gary, man. Just like I gave props to Jillian, I'm gonna give even more props to Ian, glaze him even more. He is a phenomenal fighter, man. Very special fighter. He's at this stage in his career, at this stage on this stage for a reason. He's earned that shit. You don't just go out there and beat Carlos Prates by chance. You know what I'm saying? That shit does not happen. You don't go 50-50 with Shavkat Rakhmonov by chance. It's not luck. You know what I'm saying? He's an amazing fighter, amazingly skilled. It's too bad. It's too bad he's running into Islam Makhachev. So I've seen enough from Ian Gary. You know, first of all, the things that worry me with Ian in this fight. First of all, I don't think he's going to give enough for Islam to worry about in terms of power coming back at him, striking coming back at him. He's a good striker, don't get me wrong, very accurate sniper, not too much power in his hands or really in any of his strikes. So I don't think he's going to deter Islam too much from striking with him, from closing distance. That's number one. Number two, Ian likes to kick a lot. Ian likes to kick a lot. So he might make improvements or might make adjustments in this fight. Not kick as much, but it's hard to go away from how you're wired, you know. So heavy kicks can lead to Islam catching kicks, Ian slipping, or whatever the case is, making Islam top position a lot easier. The last thing is how Ian has looked in some of these fights, especially from bottom. You know, Ian, when Michael Venom Page is controlling you for a whole round, that's not a good fucking look, man. That's not a good look. Not a good look at all. What else was it? You know, people like to talk about Bilal. Oh, he's, you know, how many takedowns did he stuff in that fight? 0 of 7. So Bilal didn't even get a takedown in that fight, right? Ian stuffed all the takedowns and blah, 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 blah. Listen, man, when you fight Bilal, that's what you worry about. You worry about not getting taken down. Bilal is not the most athletic guy, not the strongest guy. This is just a much different matchup, man. Much different matchup. So, again, when you're laying on your back against Michael Page, when you're laying on your back, there was another fight. I can't think of it right now, but the man just lays on his fucking back. You know, he closes his guard, you know, puts his leg in a triangle position while he's on his back. And that just tells you, like, oh, I don't really want to go anywhere. I want to stay in this position and remain safe. That's not going to work, man. That's not going to work in a fight like this for obvious reasons. So, yeah, man, it's just like, was it this Gabe Green fight? Because now that's going to bother me. Of course, my screen just went out again, but whatever. I don't have time. Whatever the fucking case is. I got to fucking navigate this shit through OBS. Not even my fucking screen. All right. So, yeah, man, and, you know, people are saying, yeah, you know, Gary obviously has the striking edge, and, yeah, I guess, you know, but people love disrespecting Islam striking and calling him a one-dimensional fighter. Islam is a very, very good striker, man. Very good striker. If that's not completely evident to you already, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. He's hurting dudes on the feet, knocking dudes out on the feet, knocked out one of the best fighters to ever do it, and Volk with a head kick. I know he's a 45er and blah, 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 and this and that, but he's a very, very good striker. Power in both hands, good kicking game. He can compete with Ian on the feet. Like, let's not get that fucked up. Is this going to be a 25-minute kickboxing fight? No. But he can compete with Ian on the feet. He can hit Ian on the feet as well. We've seen guys like Gabe Green have success on the feet. Michael Venom Page. I know Michael Venom Page is much different test, right? Much different style than Islam. I get that. You know, Jeff Neal is finding success on the feet. Michael Venom Page, fucking Gabe Green had his moments in that fight. Obviously, Song Kanon knocked him down in that fight. Was that the fight? It was like a notorious one again. I hate like being wrong, and I feel like my brain is like fucking mushy right now. Yeah, knockdown each, yeah. So, yeah, we've seen it. You know, as long and as rangy and as good with distance as he is, we've seen him be able to get touched. But that's obviously not why I'm playing Makhachev. I'm not playing Makhachev with the idea that he's going to compete on the feet. I think he's going to I think round one is going to be a lot of a feel out process. I think round one is going to play out on the feet for the most part. But I think Islam is going to do what he does to every fucking body, which is close distance, get his hands on him, and keep him the fuck down, you know? And people are trying to justify, oh, well, he couldn't keep Dustin Poirier down, you know? Like, he fucked Dustin Poirier up in that fight. That fight was not close. That fight was 3-1 Islam going into the fifth, and then Islam finished that fight. So we're talking about, we're trying to, you know, poke holes in Islam's resume with fights that he finished. Poirier is much more decorated at this stage in his career than Ian Gary was. Like, let's not act like Dustin is a fucking bum. Like, that's how people are talking about Dustin, like he's a bum. You know, to do what he did to Jack Della Maddalena. Again, different test, I feel like, than Ian. But to dominate Jack Della like that, I feel like it's more likely that happens again than this fight being, you know, 48-47 type of shit. You know what I'm saying? I think there's way more dominant equity for Islam than this fight playing out close equity. You know, so yeah, I think Islam gets multiple takedowns. I don't think Ian's gonna have a lot of answers, man. Maybe he gets up once, maybe he gets up twice. But as this fight plays out, man, I don't think Ian's gonna have a lot of answers for what's coming at him. So I don't think he's gonna have answers for the top pressure, the top control, the relentless takedowns, the ability for Islam to mix up his attacks and to blend the striking with the wrestling perfectly. You know, his fucking shots in that JDM fight, his timing and his shots were fucking marvelous, man. Just thing of fucking beauty, perfection, man. I don't think Ian's gonna be able to stop that shit for 5 rounds. So yeah, like I said, man, biggest bet of the card, Islam moneyline. Fight starts round 2 and Islam to record a takedown. That's -175. Played that for 3.5 units. I think both title fights, we see the champion retain their belts. I think we see them do it in dominant fashion. And yeah, man, that does it. So, very good card, UFC 330. I hope you guys are excited. I'm very much excited. We're on a great roll right now. 3 for 3 in terms of profitable cards, last 3 cards. And we're looking to do it again. So, yeah, man, if you're watching live, very much appreciated. Thank you for tuning in. You know, a lot of you guys that watch every week. So I'm very, very humbled and very, very appreciative of you guys. Those of you watching on rewatch, I appreciate that as well. Hit that like button for me. Helps me out a ton. We're also on the road to 100 subscribers. So we've kind of been stuck around that 90, 92 subscriber mark. So get your boy to 100 subscribers. If you're watching this right now, if you hear me right now, hit that fucking subscribe button. Get your boy to 100 subscribers. Our first milestone in what is a fairly new channel. So, yeah, man, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Good luck on the fights tomorrow. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.